So you're looking to get your next listing fast. So in this video, I'm going to show you what lead sources actually work to get deals quick, and then which ones to just avoid completely if you're looking to get listings fast. This is the perfect video if you're an agent, if you're in a crunch, and you need to get listings quick. Because we all know you have to list to last, and the more listings you can get, the better you're going to do in the next couple months. So my goal is to show you what lead sources have worked for me and which ones haven't. Now, you might be wondering, why should I even bother listening to this guy talk about leads? Well, I've gotten deals from almost every single one of these lead sources, and I'm going to break down the pros and cons of each one. I've been in real estate for the past 10 years. I'm also a team leader, and I've been full-time for the past 10 years. If you know anything about this market, you know it's filled with ups and downs, and I've managed to make it through all of that. So, I want to share with you what works and what doesn't, especially right now when many agents are struggling to get listings. And I want to give you some tips that hopefully help you go into the market and become a stronger agent. So before we get started with this, I do want to tell you there is a free script book you can download below. It's called the Black Book of Real Estate Scripts. It's a script book that I personally use and my team uses to outreach leads and set appointments. So if you want to grab that, make sure to click the link down in the description below and get your copy. Also, make sure to join our Agent Accelerator group. It's totally free to join. It's a community on school, and sometimes I'll pop in there, answer questions, and help agents out grow their business. So make sure to check that out. It's down in the description below. I actually just launched that today, so I want to make sure you get in there and check it out. Let's talk about all these lead sources and which ones you should actually focus on if you're looking to grow your business fast. First things first, let's talk about circle prospecting. There's a lot of coaches and people out there talking about circle prospecting, especially this guy. So circle prospecting can be a great way to build your business. The problem with circle prospecting is it takes a long time. This is an excellent pipeline builder. If you're trying to build your pipeline, this is a fantastic way to go because you're pretty much limitless on the amount of people you can talk to, and you can actually talk to specific people in specific areas that you want to sell homes in. It's a great lead source, so I don't want to downplay it, but if you're looking for deals fast, this is not the way to go, okay? This is definitely not the way to go. Circle prospecting is out if you want a listing fast, unless you find a needle in a haystack. We've been doing circle prospecting for quite a while. I actually just got off the phone with a client that I've been doing lead nurture on for the past 6 months, and they're finally gonna list next month. But that's circle prospecting for you. It takes a long time. You're gonna have to build a pipeline. You're gonna have to have good, strong follow-up systems, and it will work, but it does take time. So if you're looking for a listing fast, this is not the way to go. Next, let's talk about Zillow and then Zillow Flex. Let's start with Zillow first. These are the leads that you're paying for. When I first started my career out, Zillow was the place to go. So many agents were crushing it on Zillow. I remember back in the day, I can get leads on Zillow in some markets for $20, $25 per lead. Today, that's almost unheard of. So, Zillow can be a great way to get buyers. It can be a great way to grow your business. The problem with Zillow is it's notoriously expensive. So if you want to scale your business in a profitable way, my opinion is this is not the way to go. It's a great way to get new clients, it's a great way to build new relationships, but it's probably not the most efficient way to grow your business. And if you're looking for a listing, this is definitely not the place to be looking because you're probably going to get a couple leads per month, especially if you have a tight budget. And a lot of those will probably be buyer leads in most cases. Now, some might have a house to sell, but a lot of them will be buyer leads. So let's get rid of Zillow. That's not the way to go. Let's talk about Zillow Flex. Zillow Flex is good because you have the option to pay at close. So you're not draining your pockets trying to find a deal, but a lot of times these still will be buyers, and there is a barrier to entry to get into the Zillow Flex program. And in some markets, they're just not accepting agents, or they're taking the agents that are premier agents that have a good history of closing Zillow leads and letting them in first. So this is probably not the place to find your next listing. Now, let's talk about Google Leads. Google Leads are great. We actually spend over $1,000 a month right now for our real estate team in Google Leads. Now, this lead source can be good because they're usually a lot more serious than Facebook leads. They're a little bit more ready. There's some intent because they're searching on Google for a specific keyword. The problem with Google Leads is they can, one, be a little bit expensive, and then two, they're hard to get seller leads from. You can definitely run seller campaigns, but it costs a lot more money. And if we're doing this on a budget, we're probably not going to want to put a ton of money into Google leads, especially if we don't know they're going to convert into sales. So I would say let's not do Google leads. That's not the way to find your next deal fast. Let's talk about Facebook ads. Facebook ads are interesting. We've been running Facebook ads for over, at this point, years now, but for the past year and a half, 2 years consistently. And they're good. They're a good pipeline builder, but there are a lot of buyers, and you really, really have to do a lot of follow-up and a lot of nurturing to be able to turn them into an actual sale. So on average, just so you have a rough idea, Facebook leads, if you do everything the right way, which is reach out to them 14 times, build a pipeline, nurture them, do sequences, it's going to take you about 100 leads to get to a sale. Sometimes 200 leads or 150 leads. So this is probably not the place to find your next listing either. So we're not going to do Facebook ads. Again, these strategies can work, but I'm trying to find you a listing fast. These can be great ways to build your pipeline. They can be great ways to talk to home buyers. They can be great ways to build your real estate business, but we're trying to get you a listing fast for not a lot of money. So we're not going to go here either. So let's get rid of this, and let's focus on the next one. Now we have for rent by owners. This is where you're going to do a little bit of sweat equity. So if you've seen my video, I'm going to put a link to it here. You've seen me call for rent by owners, okay? You can have really good success with these, but again, it's going to take work, it's going to take effort, and you're going to have to say the right things on the phone. Now, you're either going to get one of three things when you call this lead source. You're either going to get people that want to sell, which is good, that's what we want. You're going to get people that want to buy more investment properties, which is good because now you're getting a pipeline builder and you can build out your investor pipeline. Or three, you're going to get people that just aren't interested, they don't want to talk to you, and that's okay. This lead source can be a great stepping stone, and I would definitely say focus on it. For rent by owner leads are really good, and they don't cost a lot of money to start calling. In fact, you can do it for free if you go through Zillow and you want to kind of weed through and dig through numbers. It's not going to cost you any money to do. If you go on different rental websites and kind of dig around, you can build a spreadsheet and just kind of do it that way. That's kind of like the bootstrapped way. Now, if you want to spend a little bit of money, I would suggest getting REDX. That's what I use to call these leads. There is an affiliate link down below where you'll get different discounts and savings if you want to check it out. But that's what I use to get my for rent by owner leads. It can be a great way to get your foot in the door and start talking to people that actually own properties that might be interested in selling. In fact, some of these for rent by owners own multiple properties. And that's one of the cool things about it, is they own multiple different properties, and sometimes they want to sell their entire portfolio. So one good call could potentially lead you 2 or 3 good listings, which is really good. So that's the for rent by owner. So we're definitely going to look at that. The next one is for sale by owner. Now, for sale by owners, I know nobody wants to call these leads because they're mean, they don't like agents, and they're not pleasant to work with sometimes. They just don't like us. But I don't think that's the truth. I don't think they don't like agents. Now, there are some that don't like agents, 100%. But a lot of them don't mind agents. And a lot of the times, if you're the first one to call them, they'll have a good conversation with you, especially if you're not intrusive and you don't hard sell them. If you just try to build a relationship, a lot of times these for sale by owners can be totally cool with you. So I would definitely look at that as well. So I would say for sale by owner and for rent by owner, I would definitely check them out. Now, there's a way to work those leads to nurture them so they turn into listings quicker, and I'll go through that in further videos. But I would say these 2 lead sources are 2 to definitely look at. If you want to get my scripts on what I'm doing to actually call these lead sources, then I would definitely get the script book down below because it does have my for rent by owner and for sale by owner script in there. So make sure to check that out because these lead sources can get you listings fast. The next lead source I want to talk about is sphere of influence. So many real estate coaches will tell you just to call your sphere of influence and forget about all this stuff. When I first started at my first real estate brokerage, that's what my mentor told me to do as well. But that's a really challenging way to scale your business, especially if nobody in your sphere of influence is selling right now. But if you haven't tapped into your sphere of influence, I highly suggest you reach out to them. Make sure you send them a mailer. You send them a mailer every month. You call them every couple months. You do the 36 touches that you're supposed to do, and you'll start getting deals out of your sphere of influence. And over time, you want to keep building it. Every time you sell a listing or you sell a client, they go into your sphere of influence, right? Past clients, sphere of influence. People that you work with on a regular basis, sphere of influence. Friends and family, sphere of influence. This is a great lead source, but if you're trying to get a listing right now, then it might not be the place to get it unless you haven't reached out to them. Now, if you haven't reached out to them, This is a great place to start because it doesn't cost any money. They already know, like, and trust you. And there might be a couple listings just sitting in your sphere of influence that you don't know about. So make sure you reach out to them first before you start any of this. Definitely start with your sphere of influence. Now, if you've been doing all the follow-up and doing all the right things, then your sphere of influence might not give you a listing right away. But definitely make sure you use the sphere of influence strategy because this is a great way to make money. And many agents actually build an entire business just based on their sphere of influence, and they don't do any of this other stuff. Now, do I recommend that? No. If you want to scale, is that the way to do it? No. But it's a great thing to include into your business, and it's a very powerful thing. The next one, we have expired leads. So let's talk about expired listings. New expired leads, maybe not so much in this market because on average, they're usually selling. So how many expired listings do you see in your market right now? Probably not a ton, but you can pull old expired listings. And the way I do this is I actually download all the data through MLS of all the expired listings. I usually go back 3 to 5 years, and then I'll import them into REDX, and then it will give me all the data, all their phone numbers, all their information, and then I'll start prospecting them. Because think about it, if somebody is in a position and they were thinking about potentially selling 3 or 5 years ago, they might have a ton of equity now. They might be in a totally different position. And when they get that phone call from you saying, hey, I know you wanted to sell a couple years back. I want to give you a free home value report just so you can reevaluate it and see how much equity you've built in that time frame. You might end up in really good conversations, and you might end up getting a lot more listings than you think. And the best thing about it is the old expireds aren't being called by as many agents as the new expireds. If a listing expires tomorrow, think about how many people are going to call that lead. They might get 30 calls within the day. And by the time you reach them, they're probably going to be pretty aggravated. But if you call somebody that listed 3 years ago and they haven't talked to an agent maybe 6 to 12 months, and you call them, they're going to have a much more positive response. So old expireds are a very good lead source, and it's very simple to do. You don't have to dig around a lot. You just export it from your MLS, upload it into MLS's expired feature, and it will give you all the numbers. So definitely a good lead source. Definitely don't sleep on that, especially if you're in a market that had a lot of expired listings a couple years back. It could be a really good thing to do. The last one is absentee owner leads. Not many people know about these, but this is just essentially people that own houses that aren't really doing anything with them. They don't live there. They might have a second house, and it's an opportunity to call them, talk to them about their home's value, and potentially see if they might want to list. And absentee owners can be a great lead source, especially if you want to build a pipeline of sellers and start building your listing catalog. So definitely don't sleep on this lead source. Now, the big thing with absentee owners is a lot of people don't know where to get them. A lot of agents don't even know about this lead source yet. I've seen it mentioned a couple times on different YouTube channels, but for the most part, I feel like most agents don't really know about absentee owners, and if they do, they don't really know where to get the leads. So I get absentee owners through Share Group. Basically, they just pull the data. You can go on there, you can shop for your leads. It will tell you how many leads are available in that specific market. You press buy, they're very cheap, and then you just download them. And then what I do is I download those, I put them in the REDX, and then I just start calling them, And then once I talk to one and I want to put it and I want to nurture it, I put it in my CRM. So it's a very simple system. You just got to know where to get the leads. But I would definitely say this is a good lead source as well. So absentee owner, old expireds, for rent by owners, and for sale by owners. That is where I would focus if I wanted to get listings quick. I hope this video helped you out, and I hope to see you in the Agent Accelerator community. Thanks for tuning in.